open spaces, breaking houses down. You'll call us vandals, but we know the truth is sometimes heroes look like bad news. And you'll call us vandals, but we know the truth is.
My music journey started when I was 9 years old. I remember as a kid just making up lyrics and beats and melodies in my head. And the first song that I wrote was a hip-hop song about baseball. Super embarrassing, and I can still to this day remember exactly how it goes, but I will not sing it for you. You would probably have to pay me to sing it out loud again, ever. And I remember I was so proud of it too. Like whenever I would write a song or create something as a kid, I would want to run up to someone and show them. So throughout junior high and even early high school, did the whole band thing. I was in like 2 or 3 chick bands. I was like the main songwriter and piano player. And I remember I was even in this like really cool like all boy garage band, and I was the only girl. And at the time that was super cool because, you know, Paramore, Evanescence was a big deal, and they just had that one girl hanging with all the cool guys. And I felt really cool. But I didn't really do gigs until I was like 17 or 18 years old. The church that I went to at the time had this thing called night watches, where from 10 p.m. to like 4 in the morning, a bunch of musicians would get in a room and just do worship together. And each musician had a set of like an hour to 2 hours. Sometimes there were 30-minute sets, but I remember always signing up for the longer sets because it was the place I felt most alive. And I wanted to be on stage doing music as long as possible. That season of doing the night watches on stage for like 2 hours actually transitioned me over to start doing worship for a local house of prayer, which is essentially the same thing, but it was 24/7. It wasn't just on Friday night. So I would sign up for 2-hour sets, 4-hour sets, and I feel like that's really the place that developed me as a songwriter. I remember trying to get, 6 songs and thinking, oh yeah, this will be fine. No, there's a ton of dead time when you're on stage for 2 hours. And with all that dead time, I just song wrote, because sometimes it was 2 people in the room and sometimes it was 30 to 40, as I went on to do other events. And I just started to take risks musically. And that was really the place where I found my voice, was messing up, having off-key moments in front of people, and just learning how to roll with it and to not sweat the little things. So in that season of just leading worship as much as I could and signing up for every prayer night that I could possibly get my hands on, I ended up meeting Micah. He was the worship leader at a youth group in Madeira, and I heard him sing and was like, oh my gosh, this boy is amazing. And to my surprise, he had just started doing music. He'd never even done this kind of stuff before, and I invited him to do a 2-hour-long set with me. You've just started doing music. You should do 2 hours on stage with me, and we'll see what happens. And he ended up saying yes. And from then on, we just became a musical thing. We just did music all of the time. Ended up meeting another good friend that way. Her name is Kaitlyn, and she kind of joined us. And it was just one of the most magical seasons of my life because I got to just create with my closest friends and discover even more like who I was and who I was in relation to other creatives and what we could do together. I do remember feeling a special magic in the room whenever Micah and I would sing a song together. And I was in charge of picking out the songs and picking out the sets. And I remember for that reason, kind of assigning, oh, Micah, you're going to sing this song with me tonight, and you're going to sing these other 2 with me as well. And just trying to get as much alone time with him as I possibly could singing, because there was nothing that I had ever felt like it before. It was in the middle of that season where we found love, and we didn't date. We went from best friends to engaged. It's a crazy story for another time, but it's a magical one. As of 2017, we are no longer leading worship in some kind of position, and we haven't played an event in a few years, and we're just kind of taking time now to see what it's like to do music independently. I have my iPhone full of voice memos from songs I've been working on more heavily since 2015, and with leading worship and with marriage and with Dreamers That Do, I just kind of had pushed those songs to the side. You know, I'd work on them kind of every month or so, but I hadn't done anything with them. And so now we've decided 2018 is the year where we're just going to focus on how do we get this stuff out there? How do we get these songs out into the world, whatever that looks like. So that's my music journey as of today. You guys are watching this as I'm in the middle of figuring it out, and thank you for being a part of this journey. Anything that we do musically, I will upload here on YouTube, and I hope you guys like it. I'm really excited to finally feel like I'm out. Like, one of the biggest parts of me is out in the world, and it's not kind of shoved aside anymore. Music has always been my number one, and I think I've just been so afraid of it that I let other things come before it. So that's it. This is me, and that is my music journey.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, like, get like a...
Weird. God.